What's going on, guys? Bossy6 here, back to your video, and today, oh man, it is so hard to believe that we're here already. I'm here to do my NFL 2024/2025 wild card predictions. The Super Wild Card Weekend is going to be coming this upcoming weekend, and boy oh boy, there's a lot of interesting games that are going to be happening this week in particular. And yeah, so let's see. We got 8 games here. No, 6 games here. And all the standings are well in suit. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting video. I'm not sure if I'll go too long with this one, considering that there's only going to be 6 games here. But I'll go and try and break down every one as we go along. So, without further ado, let's get into these predictions. Starting off with the first game of Wild Card Weekend. A little bit of a theme with this team. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Houston Texans. So, we got the number 5 seed of the AFC versus the number 4 seed. So, the Chargers, they're looking to finally get a playoff win for the first time in, oh God, since 2009, I think. It's been a long time since he's actually won a playoff game. And, yeah, Chargers fans, no one really knew that they were going to go into the playoffs this year. They thought, well, since it's the first year with Jim Harbaugh as their head coach, they thought there were going to be a little bit of a rebuild team going forward. But that was not the case here, and they actually finally made it into the playoffs this year. And considering that their opponent is the Houston Texans, who knows, they finally might be able to break that curse, because the Texans this year have been pretty disappointing, even though they did win the AFC South. But then again, that was a very, very, very weak division. C.J. Stroud hasn't really been playing up to standards. He's been kind of hitting a bit of a sophomore slump. O-line's been a mess. The receivers are damn near non-existent. Defense is solid, but that's really about it. And Stroud, yeah, he's not really been hitting his strides as of lately. Now, who I think might win this game? Tough call, because I do think both these teams can do something in the divisional round, but probably get eliminated. So, I do want to pick the Texans, but based off of how they've been playing, I just have not been trustworthy of them. I think the Chargers are going to win this game here. I think Justin Herbert and that defense is going to be doing some really damn good stuff. J.K. Dobbins, I think, is healthy enough to get back into the game. I think that defense is going to go all over C.J. Stroud. I do think the Chargers are going to win and finally get their first playoff win in a good while. And then for the Saturday night game, we have an AFC North rivalry between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers, yeah, they are the number 6 seed of the AFC, and they're taking on the number 3 seed of the AFC. And boy, oh boy, these teams are certainly no strangers to each other, especially when it comes to playoff time, because, yeah, these two have been a hater rivalry. Postseason-wise is a complete different story, because these teams have faced off in the wild card, divisional, and AFC championship games many, many, many times. So they're no strangers to this one here. The Steelers have been very, very, very disappointed in terms of they're coming off of a 5-game losing streak, I believe, and they just not been looking all that good. George Pickens has been dropping passes. Pat Freiermuth hasn't been playing well. T.J. Watt is banged up. This whole team just seems like they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And it's a damn shame, too, because I really like that defense. That defense, fucking amazing. But if they don't have T.J. Watt, they are fucked. And Russell Wilson has not been playing well this couple of weeks. It's a damn shame, too, because he was starting to have a little bit of a career resurgence, but that doesn't look like the case here. Meanwhile, the Ravens, yeah, they look like they might be a Super Bowl contender, because holy shit, dude, they are just been going off lately. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, if he doesn't get hurt. Mark Andrews, you know, that offense is spectacular. That defense, though, a lot is left to be desired. It's been kind of flat this year, in my opinion, because I thought they had a fantastic defense last year. This year's been a big drop-off in quality, in my opinion, because the Ravens, man, they are just pretty weak on defense. Sorry, my nose has been runny all day. I'm not sure what's going on. But, Yeah, I do think that the Ravens are going to win this game here. I just don't think Pittsburgh's going to be making much noise. It might be a lot of bullshit in this game because, well, Pittsburgh's involved. But, yeah, Pittsburgh's been not playing up to standards lately. So I do think that the Ravens are going to win this game. And Steelers fans, yeah, it looks like that playoff drought is not going to end anytime soon. Then we go into the Sunday games, and the first one is going to be the Denver Broncos, the number 7 seed, versus the Buffalo Bills, who are the number 2 seed. The Broncos, finally, for the first time since the Sheriff have ran off into the sunset, since Super Bowl 50, the Broncos have finally gotten to the postseason, ending that long drought for about 10 years now. And quite honestly, if you're a Broncos fan, you don't care if you even get a playoff win. You're just happy you made the postseason. And look at Brandon Perner, for example. He doesn't care that they're going to get their ass kicked. He just cares that the Broncos fucking did something in January. So there's that. But the Broncos right now came out of absolutely nowhere for me. I didn't think they were really going to be anything special. I thought they were just going to be merely mid for the most part because we didn't know how Bo Nix was going to play out. We knew that defense was good because their defense wasn't the problem last year. It was just their offense wasn't that good. And while their offense hasn't really been up to snuff, I do think it's probably one of the weakest points of the team this year. That defense is really damn good, especially Nick Bonitto. And considering that they just shut out the Kansas City Chiefs, granted it was against backups, of course, Bo Nix played himself a hell of a game. Again, granted it was against backups, but still, Nix has proven that he can still hang with some of the better teams, even though he has buckled under pressure in some ways. But they are taking on the Buffalo Bills, who are proving themselves to be one of the best teams in the AFC. And to the shock of me and a lot of people, we all thought that they may or may not have missed out on the playoffs because we all thought the Jets were going to go in. We all thought the Jets were going to do it this year. But it turns out that they were just the same old Jets of old. And the Bills, they just basically just went away with the victory right here. And yeah, they lost to New England, but New England fucked themselves more than anything. So you have that. Josh Allen probably won't be getting the MVP this year, unfortunately, but he has been playing some fantastic football this year, making mind-blowing plays damn near every single week he's on the field. And right now, if you're a Buffalo fan, you are so damn happy. Even if you didn't get the number 1 seed, you're just happy you're in the playoffs for the 7th year in a row, I believe. Yeah, about the 7th year in a row. So that's all you can really say for at this point. So even though I think Denver has a slight chance of winning this game, I do think that the Bills are going to pull off the victory here because I do think Buffalo is just a better team. And when Josh Allen has the ball in his hand, he's going to be making some magic. He's going to be making some plays. So Denver might make it a close game. It might be fun for about 3 quarters, but I do think Buffalo is going to get the victory here and move on into the divisional round. And then the first NFC game of Sunday, we've got the Green Bay Mud 11 Packers, who are the 7th seed, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the number 2 seed. So, the Packers, well, you guys might be screwed because not only did you lose to your divisional rival in the Bears, but also Jordan Love hurt his hand, not to mention, of course, Malik Willis hurt his hand, but Christian Watson may have tore his ACL. Amazing! Because why come off of a knee injury? We could just tear your ACL on a non-contact play. Hooray! The reason why they put Watson in that game is because Romeo Doubs got sick, and now you lost one of your best wide receivers. So, yeah, it's not looking all that good for Green Bay right now. Even though their offense has been pretty good, their defense, when it decides to show up, that's kind of like the one thing about Green Bay that's been kind of meh, is that they're just kind of inconsistent as of right now. They sometimes show up, but sometimes don't. They just really need to find that pass rush, is what I'm trying to say here. Meanwhile, Philly, while they don't look all that great right now, they are going to be having some of their big stars back. Devontae Smith's going to be back. A.J. Brown's going to be there. Barkley's going to be there. Dallas Goedert's going to be there and all that stuff. It really depends on if Jalen Hurts is going to play. Because if Hurts isn't playing, might be a little bit of skepticism right there. But Tanner McKee has proven that he can hang, even though his first 2 games were against Dallas and the Giants. But that's neither here nor there. I do think in terms of overall team, I do think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game here. Green Bay might make it a little bit close, but I do think Philly is going to be able to pull away with the victory here. Sorry, Packers fans, just not going to be your year, unfortunately. And Philly is going to move on into the divisional round. And then for Sunday Night Football, we get another Week 1 matchup because Philly and Green Bay did play in Week 1 this past year. We get another Week 1 matchup from this year. We've got the number 6 seed in the Washington Commanders versus the number 3 seed in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Commanders, they clinched their spot for the number 6 seed by defeating the Dallas Cowboys. Even though Green Bay did lose, they would have gotten the number 6 seed anyway if they would just beat Dallas. They beat Dallas. They're in the playoffs again. And you know what? You got to feel good for Tampa Bay at this point, dude. You really, really, really do. Because again, for Washington, because this team has been in hell for 20 plus years, especially with Dan Snyder as their owner. But they got new ownership. The new owner could have literally done fucking nothing, and he would have been able to have an infinitely better stature than good old Dan Snyder right there. But this team is just so fun to watch. You got Scary Terry McLaurin, you got Zacchaeus, you got Daniels, you've got so many other good weapons on that offense. Defense, though, probably the weakest point of the entire team right now. But they have been over-delivering in some capacity, not by a whole lot. And considering that these two teams like to face off each other a lot in the playoffs, is saying a lot. Tampa Bay, they got their spot at the number 3 seed due to the Rams losing to the Seahawks. Therefore, they got the 3 seed instead of the number 4 seed. Tampa Bay right now, yet another good season for Tampa Bay, even though they were looking pretty dead in the water, considering that they were fucked on injuries beyond belief. Baker Mayfield was getting banged up. Mike Evans was out for a few weeks. Chris Godwin was done for the season with a dislocated ankle. This team was just an absolute turmoil. Sterling Shepard got hurt. So many other guys were getting hurt. Their offense and their defense was getting banged up. Anton Whitfield Jr. was getting hurt. Tristan Wirfs was hurt. I think Vita Vea got banged up at some point. Tampa Bay was getting banged up, but then they managed to finally pull away with the division, thanks to Atlanta, and they got into the postseason, which is, like you really say. Now, the last time these two teams played was, at least in the postseason, was actually 4 years ago when they actually went into that Super Bowl that Tom Brady won, quote unquote. But they've actually faced off each other a couple more times since then. Now, the last time these two teams played, Tampa Bay was just a way better team. I do think that this could be another fun, close game here. Depending on who's the better team, really comes down to the defense in a lot of ways. Because I do think this might be a back and forth affair. However, since they got momentum on their hands, I'm actually going to go with Washington for this one, because I think Washington has a lot of momentum right now. Tampa Bay has some too, considering that Mike Evans just got 1,000 yards receiving again, so there you go there. But I do think Washington, through all their faults this season, has proven that they can hang with some of the bigger names here, and I do think Washington will be able to pull off the victory here and get their first playoff win in almost 20 years. Yeah, it's been about 20 years since they last won a playoff game, and it was ironically against Tampa Bay. So there you go there. It all comes full circle. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Washington with this one. And Wildflower, enjoy yourself right there, my good sir. And then for the final game of the wild card weekend, we've got actually a rematch from earlier this season. We've got the Minnesota Vikings, who are the number 5 seed, against the number 4 seed Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings, wow, that was a absolutely pathetic showing that they had against Detroit this past Sunday. You had so much stuff going for you, and at the very least, you could have at least scored a couple points, but nope, you shit your pants at the wrong time, because not only did you lose to a divisional rival, you also lost the number 1 seed in the division to the divisional rival. And yeah, Detroit, they finally get the number 1 seed for the first time in franchise history. And not to mention, they swept the entire NFC North, which is the first time they've done that too. And my God, Minnesota, I don't even know what to say. That was just a bad game they played. And it was a wrong time for them to strike midnight. Meanwhile, the Rams, they did lose to the Seahawks, so then hence why they dropped to the number 4 seed. But the Rams are still a really good team. Even though, again, this team, just like with Tampa Bay, they looked like they were fucked because a lot of the guys were hurt. Stafford, I think, got banged up. Cooper Kupp was out. Puka Nacua was hurt. So many guys were out. I think Tyler Higbee got hurt. So many damn injuries with this team. Like, week 1, it was a fucking laundry list of injuries that this team had. And it was so unreal. But they managed to come back. Finally clinched the playoff spot and win the NFC West. Thanks Arizona and thanks Seattle. But besides that, they did go into the playoffs this year. And you know what? You can feel good for Stafford for the team right now. Now, last time these teams did play, the Rams actually shockingly got a big win over the Minnesota Vikings, even though there was a face mask in the end zone that never got called. But I certainly digress. And ironically, it was in LA, so there you go there. Who's going to win this game? Honestly, people might say I'm a little cuckoo for this one. Despite the fact they did not show up at all on Sunday night, I do think that the Vikings should be able to get a victory here. Darnold just decided to play a bad game at the wrong time. And, yeah, it just didn't look all that good for Minnesota on both sides of the ball, honestly. So, even though Minnesota didn't play a good game at all, I do think that they're going to be able to get a victory over the Rams for this one. And who knows? Maybe I might be wrong and look like an idiot outside of things, but I have predicted a lot of worse games. So, there you go there. So, folks, that is it for my Super Wildcard Weekend predictions for this upcoming weekend. This one should be a fun one. This should be a very interesting week. And, yeah, that's all I really need to say here. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, tap that bigger subscribe button, and tap the bell so when I upload, you guys will be notified. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and most importantly, join Herd. I'll talk to you guys next one. Peace out.